To those of you who are artists, you know how important having your own art style is. And to those of you who aren't artists, you don't know how important it is. But an art style is, you know how everybody has their own handwriting and it's like unique to one person. That's the same thing as an art style, is that every artist draws differently, and it's really hard to imitate an art style. And I thought this was a really good speed paint to talk over, because I was trying to imitate one of my favorite artists of all time, which is I forgot his first name, whatever, Furudate, who is the writer and like the author and the illustrator of Haikyuu. And I have imitated a lot of my favorite artists before, and I've done an okay job, I think. But for some reason, I could not get this style down, and it was a complete failure. So I kind of wanted to talk about how important it is. Like, you can try to draw exactly like somebody, and people will be able to tell that it is not them. I mean, depending on your skill level, of course, there are some people who are very good at this, but most of the time, you will never be able to get the line art down, the weight of the lines and the way they color and the way they draw a certain thing. And there's a lot of things that go into imitating an art style. But the whole point of this video was actually to talk about coming up with your own art style. And a lot of you guys, a lot of artists out there have been asking me how to come up with your own art style and how to be consistent with it. And the thing is, for most advice, the most common advice that I give people is practice, which you guys are so sick of hearing. But honestly, that's kind of the thing that I feel is the most successful in that, which is practicing. And here's the thing with art styles. So when I was first beginning art drawing, I guess, and becoming more serious about it, I didn't really have an art style. I drew in a lot of different ways. I imitated like the very, very stereotypical anime style a lot, just because that was what I lost myself, because that was what was popular on DeviantArt. Did that make any sense? It was popular on DeviantArt, that style, so I tried to imitate it. And then eventually, I didn't like it, because I hated people being like, "Is that anime?" And I didn't know back then that phrase would be said to me for the rest of my entire life. But I wanted to be something different. And I had a favorite artist at the time. God, what was her name? Like Aisha Neko or something like that. They don't go by that name anymore, but they're on Twitter now as something else. I need to link to them, I guess. But I really liked her art style, so I would try to imitate it. And it was obviously it didn't look exactly like hers, just because I was at a much lower skill level. I didn't have enough practice, and I just kind of draw what I saw without paying attention to the line art and stuff like that. And things were going good, and then people started comparing me to her, and I got angry, even though I knew that I was obviously imitating her art style. Like, I don't know why I was getting so angry. It wasn't like a coincidence thing with Aisha. I was doing it on purpose, and yet I was still getting angry. And then I thought, okay, I need to figure this out on my own. I need to come up with my own unique style. And so I don't remember exactly what I did, but I had some advice from an artist friend by the name of Alex that I don't talk to anymore. And they said what a good thing to do is to grab a bunch of art from a bunch of your favorite artists. So don't just focus on one artist, okay? Do not do that. That's bad. I mean, it's not bad, but your art will end up looking a lot like theirs, and people will, have like one target to compare you to. So grab a bunch of art from a bunch of your favorite artists. Look at each art style for I don't know, time yourself for maybe 30 seconds to a minute, and then close their art and draw something of your own using their art style from memory. Do not go back and reference their art style. Don't go back and reference how they draw things. And do that with a bunch of different artists, and then you will eventually figure out certain things that they do that you like. So maybe you like the way somebody draws hair, and then you like another artist by the way that they color eyes and stuff like that. And you build it, and you kind of adopt it into your own art style, and you build it up, and it's good. And then it's like this own original thing. And the thing is, a lot of people are afraid of kind of like learning from other people, but that's just kind of what humans do best. We learn best from imitation. So it's not really that like that bad of it's not bad to do that, as long as, you know, like I said, you're not focusing on one artist and trying to look exactly like their art style, unless it's like, you know, like an art style challenge like I've done a lot, because I don't stick to it at all. But that's kind of how I learned my own art style. And I'll tell you some things right now that I took from other artists and shows and stuff. So, the way that I draw eyes was inspired by Furujate, whatever. I cannot pronounce his name, okay? But if you've seen, like, you've probably seen me go back to his art a lot in this video. The way he draws eyelashes, at least, is how I draw eyelashes. And I will make a video about facial expressions, but Furujate is my number one inspiration. And yeah, for facial expressions, I draw a lot of the facial expressions that he does just because his characters are just so out there. And so I draw myself and my characters using facial expressions that I've seen him draw. So to anybody who has ever complimented me about my facial expressions, feel free to or I am what am I saying? I am crediting Furujate because it's all him, okay? Let me think of I know the way I color lips, so if you've noticed in most of my normal art, when I color lips, I only color the top part, and it's usually like a slightly darker is it tint or what is that word? Whatever shade of the skin color, and that was inspired by an anime I watched, which was it's really funny because it ended up being like a gay anime, I guess, like a boy love anime. And I didn't know when I started. I saw gifs of it on Tumblr, and it was the art style and the coloring was so gorgeous, and I had to watch it. And I was like, oh, well, this is okay too. Like, I don't care. And I was into it, whatever. The coloring is so gorgeous. It's called Love Stage. I should probably credit, yeah, Love Stage. And if you look up like screen caps of it, the main character's eyes are so pretty, and I want to have a character with that eye color because it's just so gorgeous. But yeah, so a lot of my coloring was inspired or was taken from that show. I don't follow the manga, by the way, so I don't know what's going on. But yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous coloring. What else? I'm trying to think of like, one of my favorite artists, like of all time, also besides Furujate, is Muki. Yeah, Muki 00 something. But you can find them. I'll link their like Instagram and their Twitter and whatever, or Tumblr. They have a gorgeous art style, and I probably whoa, why am I'm popping a lot, but I probably had a lot of influence with coloring or with drawing their eyes, because the way that they draw eyes with eyelashes is just like so out there. Their art style is like very out there, at least, you know, compared to there's a lot of artists out there who they have very similar art styles, and you can probably just mesh them all together, but their art style is just you cannot it's so easy to tell, like, oh, Mookie drew that just right away. I can recognize their art style from 20 miles away. So a lot of my coloring came from there. So I've actually had one of those all about Luca videos, and when I reference or when I imitate their style, you can see it. I do they use like a lot of fading colors, at least in some of their sketches, because some, you know, they do a lot of different art styles. But you might be able to see me use the airbrush tool in some of my videos. I use it because of them, just because I like very light, hardly noticeable fading in colors, especially in skin. When I shade skin, that was kind of inspired by them, so I'm gonna do a video on that too, I guess. I have to do a video on coloring, so and picking colors, but I do it because of them. So a lot of my coloring techniques come from Mookie, and those are the only like artists that I can think of on the top of my head. I know I've probably been influenced by other people, very like specific things, like maybe the way I do highlight. I'm trying to figure out who I did the highlighting for my hair part. A lot of you guys comment on the highlighting. Also, one of the most noticeable things about my art style, I've been told at least, is how I outline the eyebrows and the eyes. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know. I don't think it was influenced by a specific artist, but there's a lot of artists out there who, when they draw, my voice is just there's a lot of art pieces out there when a character has black hair, and for this style they use just like straight up black for the hair, like they don't use any dark shades of blue or purple, just straight up black, and then the eyelashes are black. And so sometimes some artists will give a very, very thin white outline of their eyelashes so that you can tell it apart from the hair. And I've seen this, like, so many people do this. It's not like a certain artist. And so I started doing that with black hair because Luca had black hair, and I would use a white outline. And then I got really into it, and so I started using different colors. My most common color is yellow because it's really bright, and sometimes I use like a very bright blue. And so that's kind of became my thing. I would do it no matter the hair color and whether their hair actually, I usually do it when the hair is gonna hit the eyes, but sometimes I don't outline, or I do outline anyways. But so that's kind of what I took inspiration from, I guess. So I took this thing and I tweaked it and kind of made it my own, and so now most people know me for that. I'm not sure if that's good or not. I guess it is. And I've seen other artists do it too when they try to imitate my style, so that's really cool. So that's kind of how I came up with that. So that's I don't know why this ended up talking about myself, but I'm hoping that by talking about how I developed my style and how I took certain parts of other artists' styles, that it teaches you how to do it yourself, that it's okay to just find a certain thing and make it your own, and it's okay to edit it a little bit, because that's just how we learn. And that's just how artists learn, and it's really like okay. So I think that was kind of my main piece of advice for you guys, which was to learn from other artists and to take pieces of their art that you like and put it into your own. But more advice I want to give about art styles is to not focus on drawing. And I'm going to make a completely separate video for this because it's very important, but pay attention to coloring, okay? Because I've seen a lot of there is that challenge, that art style challenge, where you try to imitate your favorite artist styles. And a lot of people tend to just do the line art and they don't color it for whatever reason, because they don't have time or they're lazy or whatever. But the thing is, like, at least 50% of somebody's unique art style has to do with the way they color things. And again, I'm not going to go into it because I'm going to make a whole video of it. And I did an art experiment with a lot of artists out there. Thank you so much for collaborating with me, by the way. But please pay attention to how people color and shade and the colors they use and how they, just all that stuff. Please, it is so important. Okay, I'm going to move on from that also. Okay, another thing I want to talk about is do not be stressed out about having your own art style and the consistency. I know you think it's this whole thing that you have to be super original because you need your art to be recognizable from everybody else's, and I get it because I'm like that too. But it takes time and it takes practice, so you can't expect to have your own art style within a couple of days or even a couple of weeks. It takes a long time. And honestly, a lot of people like me wish that we didn't have like a solid art style because we want to try new things. So take this time to appreciate that you have all of this time and energy to experiment with your art style instead of just being stuck to one art style, okay? And the way I said okay was like me lecturing you, like, stop it, okay? Be chill, okay? Chill out. But I get that you want an art style and you want consistency, and that's not bad. Just don't stress out about it. And learn and experiment a lot. Experiment, like, try a different art style every day. And eventually you'll find something that you like and you'll carry it on to your own art style, and you're going to build it like building blocks, like Legos, like, I don't know. That's how an art style works. And for consistency, again, practice, whether you're talking about consistency with character designs or consistency with your art style, it takes a lot of practice. Please feel free to use your own art as reference. Gosh dang, do I use my own art for reference all of the time, especially with drawing characters. I think, wait, how does this character look again? And then I have to pull out a bunch of pieces of them and then be like, okay, they have this hair and these eyes and whatever. It's okay to use your own art as reference for your character designs or your art style. You forgot how you draw hair? freaking look at your old art and see. And if you don't have any references, just make your own right now. Figure out, nothing is set in stone. Feel free to experiment. I'm repeating myself, but please, come on. Please, just practice, practice, practice. Take time, take effort. God, I'm gonna paint my nails. So, I guess that's all I had to say. Again, I'm sorry if this wasn't very helpful. I'm just talking about my own experience in hopes that you guys can learn from it, and don't stress out. Experiment a lot. Practice. Be good people. Kiss your dog. Kiss your cat. Kiss your tarantula. Kiss your lizard. Don't, you know what? Okay, yeah, you can kiss your lizard. It's okay. Yeah, be good to yourself and other artists. All right, thank you so much for watching. I love you. Be good. I'm lecturing you guys again. I'm sorry. I am your mother now. Okay, have a good week. Have a good Thanksgiving or whatever. I'm not sure when this is gonna release. Okay, bye.